Hello and welcome to PowerPointer 257 C++ tutorial series. In this video, we are going to be covering variables, data types such as integers, floats, charts, chars, strings, etc. So without further ado, let's talk about them and let's get into them. So to this point, we've pretty much only talked about integers and strings and done fun little manipulations with those. But today we're going to talk about a few more. We're going to talk about characters, otherwise known as chars, doubles, and floats, and whatnot. But first, let's start with what we've talked about. Let's start with strings first. So first things first, you're going to want to make sure you include the string library. And let's talk about some strings. So when you want to declare a string, you just type out lowercase string variable name. Let's call this var is equal to, and then in these quotation marks, you're going to type whatever, something like that. And so this is a string. So now if we try to print this out, let's see how far. And we get whatever we set this variable equal to. So just like integers, just like doubles, it's perfectly valid if you want to go back and redeclare this, right? Now var is equal to, say, hello. And let's print out var once again. Actually, let's end this line really quick. ANDL. And if we print out var, we can see that now it holds the value of hello. Whenever thinking about variables in general, it's good to think of them as a place in memory. And when you assign it a value, that spot in the computer's memory currently holds that value. Now, if you go back and modify it, like I said, that's perfectly valid. So a couple things to take away from here. Just to declare a string, just type out string, then the variable name, and set it equal to whatever you want it to. Now, it's perfectly valid not even to set it equal to something, just to declare a string. And let's comment this out really quick. And we can see that this actually isn't going to print anything, but this doesn't give us a compiler, because all the computer did was it saw, okay, he's trying to declare a string. So the compiler said to the computer, okay, make room in memory for this variable. It doesn't have a value in particular, but nonetheless make room for the variable. That's perfectly valid. So to take away from this, remember string and then the variable name, and oops. And that's how you declare a string. That's how you set it equal to something and give it a value. And most importantly, I want to emphasize, because we're about to talk about chars, with strings, they're going to be in these double quotation marks. Now, don't get these confused with these single quotation marks. Make sure they're the double ones. The double quotation marks are what strings are used for. Now, without further ado, let's get into some integers. Now I've talked about integers very briefly in my past couple of videos. In this one, it's a similar context to a string in the sense that when you're declaring an integer, you're simply just making room in memory. It doesn't necessarily, okay.